Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us, man, there is nothing. We are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Okpeyemi Akinyode as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial mainland 98.3 FM. We'll welcome you, roommates, as we discuss the situations.
Oga Police, no worry, I see you. You know you can do the right thing, right? You know you can do without that bribe. You know you don't even have to harass that young man because he is properly dressed. And you think he's a Yahoo boy? You don't even have to assault that citizen whom you have sworn an oath to protect. Yes, we understand that the pay is not good enough to take you home. That you are still wearing a uniform that you bought with your own money 5 years ago. It's no news that the government has not done enough by you. We feel your pain and we wish things could be different as we continue to call on government to wake up to their responsibilities. We want the police to be our friends, just as it is boldly stated across the various police stations nationwide. And from mainland 98.3 FM, we implore you to do better. We love you and we support you always.
A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Situation Room live on mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. I want to believe your day has been going well. Today's Thursday, and of course, you know that is always a special edition on the show because I have Mr. Miwa Adeyemi always joining me on Thursdays. Mr. Miwa Adeyemi is the head of is the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and yesterday morning. There was a special that was done by him, an interview that was conducted on the one-time gubernatorial aspirant on the platform of the PDP for Ogun State in 2023, Otumba Segun Sowunmi, the convener of the alternative movement. And I just read through that interview, and I figured that it was appropriate we had a one-on-one conversation with Otumba Segun Sowunmi, and he joined us in midweek politics yesterday. If you missed that, don't miss it next week. Every Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m., 120 minutes of conversation around politics, nothing else. Politics to the very detail. I will talk about everyone involved. Yesterday was some sort of, maybe not a banter, but a couple of callers came really hard on us yesterday. And they felt like, you know what? You're not taking the Obasa story from a balanced point of view. You should investigate the allegation of misappropriation of funds. The journalist should also investigate the allegation of high-headedness. The journalist should investigate the allegation of the former speaker inciting members against each other, this and that. And then I said, hey, the constitution is very clear. A public office holder, if you've been alleged to have, in quotes, mismanaged some funds, the anti-graft agencies that are saddled with that responsibility, our job is to come in here. Yes, investigation also is part of what we do here, but if it involves, such high level, we should trust the anti-graft agency to do their jobs and come out with whatever findings that they have. And the impeachment hadn't even been criminalized yet, by the way. So, well, issues like that would always have different opinion about it. And we're still going to touch it on the show today as well. I would want to, seek for Mr. Miwa's opinion on what he thinks were the major issues around the impeachment of the former Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa. I mean, he's certainly going to, slice into the conversation for us, talking about Mr. Miwa Adeyemi on the show today. We'll also look at the morale of the officers. I'm talking about the men in uniform. Yesterday was the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, and beyond, the state governors across the federation, including Mr. President as well, represented by the Vice President, honoring the memories of the, the slain officers, and also promising their families to be properly taken care of. What about those people that are still out there, putting their lives on the line every single day to protect the integrity and the sovereignty of this country from external invaders? Funny enough, we've had more problems with, internal crises in the last maybe 15 years, from terrorism to insurgency to cattle rustling to armed robbery to kidnappings to extortion. I mean, there's just been a whole lot of issues left and right, and even the boys that are supposed to be in the barracks have sometimes been drafted into domestic or into civil issues, and it's a lot of problem. We've been stretched so badly. We've lost thousands of officers since we started this issue of Boko Haram, that had also maybe metamorphosed into different challenges, from there to cattle rustling, to land grabbers, invaders. It's just drifted into different spaces. We've seen insurgents pledging allegiance to foreign recognized terrorist groups, and so the men have had to do a lot, maybe a bit overstretched. And the question is this: what do we make of their morale, especially when a lot of them are some that have been discharged, some that have resigned from the military, some of them have had to come out to say, hey, these were the challenges that we faced all through the years that we've been there. A lot of them have not seen their family members for 3 years, 4 years, and they'll come tell you that, oh, the weapons that we have is so inferior to the people we're fighting against. So you have terrorists that have rocket launchers, they have RPGs, they have AK-47, they have sophisticated grenades, and on top of all of that, there are still sympathizers and people that are sabotaging the effort of the military. So the question would also be touching on the show today, beyond the issue of the impeached speaker, is how can the government do more in terms of boosting the morale of the officers fighting to protect the sovereignty of this country? It's been a long journey. You sit down with some of these guys. One of my cousins got married in November last year, and of course he's a captain, and we're having that conversation, and he said, a lot of things that I can't even see on the radio. And so sometimes when you listen to the chief of army staff, you listen to the minister of state for defense, minister of defense, all of them coming out to say that, the men are well mobilized, the morale is high. You see all of those on TV, and then you get to sit down with these people. If you have friends or relatives or siblings that are members of the Nigerian army, if you listen to the stories, they will tell you it's a different ball game. So beyond just celebrating the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, what happens to those that are still alive? What assurance do they have that if they get to die while in active service, their folks, their families will be properly taken care of? Because it looks like it's a job where you signed your suicide because you don't even know what's happening next. We'll talk about that on the show today. We'll also look at the statement of the former CBN governor and now the emir of Kano, saying that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing a lot of things wrongly and he is not ready to help them. That conversation had brought in a lot of reactions in the last 24 hours. We'll talk about that on the show today. How much should the traditional institution be involved with politics? Remember, when the emir is now the emir, but before he got deposed by the former governor of Kano State and now the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Alhaji Abdullahi Ganduje. A lot of people were talking, even I was watching one, Gandhi's interview earlier today, and I was talking about the fact that, as a traditional ruler of such level, you have to stop being a social critique book because you need to watch your tongue. He kept talking about it. I'm even surprised that, Gandhi can come out and say the most dangerous thing against a politician anywhere in the world is that politician's tongue. And, there were a lot of things that have been said in the last 24 hours in respect to what the Emir of Kano said. We'll also look into it on the show today. So we've got a bumper package. Mr. Miwadeyemi, good to have you join us on the show today. It's another Thursday to have thought-provoking conversation in the Situation Room live on Mela 98.3 FM. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening. Let's first conclude our listeners. They are very important. I think they deserve.
I'm struggling to hear you. If you can hear me very well, I can't hear you well.
Okay, I'm saying we have to first and foremost greet the listeners. So I'm saluting, I'm extending my hands of fellowship greetings to our listeners before I come and greet you. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeyemi. Now, before we even slide into all of the conversation we're going to be having today, let's talk about the in the last maybe 1 week. I've seen a lot of politics going on at the global stage, international politics. I've seen some alignments, ceasefires being signed. The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, visiting Poland, visiting a lot of other countries. Is not visited for a while. There's also been ceasefire in Gaza and Israel. The Prime Minister of Canada also resigned. There's just been a whole lot of issues, and a lot of people, even the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Cuba, actually addressed the World Press Conference earlier today, and he says that he's not sure if when President Donald Trump gets sworn in next week, if he's not going to delist them from, outgoing President Joe Biden had actually removed Cuba from the list of terrorist financiers. Now, the Prime Minister of Cuba is saying that he's having a fear that when Donald Trump comes back, he's going to list them and return them into some of the states that have been blacklisted for sponsoring terrorism. And it looks like the entire world. And by the way, earlier today, the Donald Trump team released the official portrait of the US president in waiting, and I saw the picture and it has generated a lot of issues. Somebody said, they look Gucci face, he's not smiling, it's not this, it's not that. It looks like the entire world are anticipating the swearing that they said the second coming of Donald Trump. Remember, it was there from 2016 to 2020 after defeating the former First Lady, that's Hillary Clinton, in that election in 2016. He lost his election bid in 2020, and then he came back to contest again, and he won overwhelmingly, defeating the outgoing Vice President, VP Kamala Harris. How do you think the entire world is getting ready for the second coming of Donald Trump?
Well, I think it's going to be a different game entirely, and they can assure you the world politics might have a kind of it's going to change, because whether you like it or not, Trump has certain things he believes, and in which everybody has been, I think, on their toes. I think everybody is now waiting for him to see how it's going to behave this second time. We know certain things that will not compromise, and the world is already waiting. And first and foremost, there's going to be a kind of a change in the social order as affects America. And we are talking of America in this sense, when the country is so big enough that's present, not only military, economic, and influence on many countries of the world. So you begin to the same, we call the police of the world, right? So whatever any American president and they do or does, right? And it's an issue when it comes. Imagine many people will really catch cold. For instance, the immigrants are already looking forward to what will happen. I think in the next couple of days, right? Though when in his first term, all the blah blah, all what he threatened to do, he could not do 1% of those things, even to a record, even that one Nigerians got visa
during his time
in 4 years. You don't stand down even the previous ones. That's the point. But those who are scaling first through Mexico, through South American, whatever, I think they have it a big tougher, at least within. Then again, some immigrants that have not perfected their papers in America, certainly, I'm sure some of them
have some problems.
Yes, may have some problems. They just put it that way. And in the Middle East, I can assure you that the crisis in the Middle East is a bit aggravated, because when it was there, they recognized Jerusalem, I think, as the capital of Israel, not Tel Aviv, right? And you did remember that they moved the capital, I think, from Tel Aviv
to Jerusalem.
To Jerusalem.
Even moved the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They moved the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem, and they wanted Jerusalem to be recognized. And he has done a lot work on ground, encouraging some of the other European and other countries to remove and the embassies to Jerusalem. But immediately he left, all those things came down. And it was part of his campaign promise, right, that he was going to do it. But how would the Middle East react? You know what I'm saying now?
Yes, sir.
So the issue of two nations, the issue how the Arab world of this country will react, I think, to those things he would do, not only in Israel, Jerusalem, as this, but as affect other East African, Arab countries. Exactly. So what I'm saying is that the whole world is watching. And you know when it comes, some areas that Americans have been doing for that Christmas, something that's going to expect reduction. Because when it was there first time, it did no reduction in grants, in all those things given to other countries. And to him, he has said it, that African leaders, they don't have it
as easy as they used to be.
They will not, because to me, the best African leaders can do are just to drink, steal money, and perhaps you know how to put it. So they are lazy, and of course we say they are not lazy. So to Donald Trump, most of these African leaders are lazy. They are lazy. They have no discretion, right? So I think they are not brilliant, and they are not bold enough to do what is right. Even to him, they are not patriotic enough to do what is right for their country. And how will you blame him? How will you blame him? So when he knows that when they are stealing money from their countries, all these African leaders, whether commissioner, whether governor, whether president, whatever. So after stealing money, they're supposed to use to develop their people, they are taking it away. In American banks or Swiss banks or banks in all these European countries. So he had information, and he knew that they were not patriotic, but this after stifling their people, their system with funds, with development, they will now be rushing to America. Ask majority of our people in America, do they wanted to stay there? They had the opportunity in Nigeria. I can assure you some they will tell you that they want to go back home. Ask some of our people in Europe, in Canada, that if you have opportunity, we want to stay there. They want to come back. Tell me any Nigerian that would like the kind of winter some of them are to enduring in Europe, in Canada by now. When we are talking of negative, when we are talking of less than 4, when we are talking of 4%, 4% sections. So because they had no choice, that's why they were there. But I think some of these leaders may not have it easy and funny with Donald Trump. But I'm sure all attention will focus on America in a couple of months simply because they know that Trump will change many things. He made some campaign promises, especially when it comes to international relations, and he believes that America first. that I think what concerns him first and foremost is the interest of Americans, right? It's not interested in the how they actually were affecting that person. What America wanted. So if you want to go with them, good luck. If you don't want to go with them, and they close the door against them. So that's his position. And I'm sure everybody now looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeyemi. I just wanted us to have, an idea of what the world should expect, because they would always say that when America sneezes, the entire world catches cold. Whether you are Russia or you are China, whether you are South or North Korea,
they have to.
You have to feel the entire world seems to be catching the flu. And when I looked at the picture he released today, I just told myself, I said, hey, this picture looks more ordinary than meet the eye. It's almost like a picture of, you know what, I'm not coming to look at anybody's face. It is business, serious business. I remember, yes, I remember his first time where, he cut down the funding of America to the IMF and World Bank, saying that they're doing jamboree for African leaders. And him coming back right now, there's going to be a lot, especially on the issue of the LGBTQ. The House of Reps yesterday, signed into law, withdrawing or institutionalizing the withdrawal of transgenders from serving in the US Army. They're just waiting for the Senate to ratify it. And even Donald Trump has said it, that if you're a transgender, you cannot serve in the military of the United States. If you're a transgender, you cannot participate in a sport that you switched your allegiance or your gender to. So there's just going to be a lot that Donald Trump will have to face. But it looks to me that like a man that's maybe ready for the job. There's the screening for his cabinet has already begun, I think on Tuesday. And it's just a different kind of thing here. Unlike when we have a Nigerian president that takes months to assemble their cabinet, and then they start doing screening. Some of the ministerial nominees will just take a bow on the floor of the house and they will leave. I saw how many hours they used to drill Senator Rubio yesterday. Almost 4 or 5 hours. Well, they said that's the standard of world democracy. Let's see how we can move on with that one. But hey, we're waiting for the 20th of January, when Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th United States president for his second term in office. Let's keep that to one side. Mr. Miwadi, Nigeria celebrated the Armed Forces Remembrance Day yesterday, rose, and it's something that we do every single year. But beyond what we do to honor those that are dead, what happens to the morale of those that are still alive, are fighting to protect the sovereignty of this country? Some that cannot fight anymore, they've lost some part of their bodies as a result of attack. There's been issues of imbalance in terms of the web of defense relocating to Katsina, or chief of army staff are going to boost the morale of the boys and doing push-up and all of those. Let's talk about the state of the Nigerian armed forces as we speak, especially the foot soldiers.
I think it's quite unfortunate the environment we operate in Nigeria, where some of the actions are better described as scenes in at Nollywood films, because you can never imagine such happening. I think we will be celebrating the giving impression to the shit. Sorry to use that language. Let me put it in a perspective, right? We say we are celebrating the fallen heroes. The first question you ask is that all these fallen heroes, right, that fought even while confronting Boko Haram or Ukarawa or those guys, where they were compensated, were their families not regretting now that their father or breadwinner ever joined Nigeria Armed Forces? Number one. Number two, even those who left voluntarily after retired, so, and if you see their pensioners, only, I think on Monday, the pensioners of Nigeria demonstrated in the front of the Ministry of Defense in Abuja that some of them for the past 2-3 years they have not been paying their pension, who laid down their lives to do what some of us could not do. At least some of us here, if we ask them to go and join Nigerian Army, they would run away. I do remember during Civil War, I think a year during Civil War, I had an uncle and some of his friends. We were living at Ile-Ife then. when they saw people coming to recruit them for and to join the Nigerian side of the Nigerian army, that's my uncle had to run inside there. In the olden days, there's something they used to put clothes, right? They kind of a basket like this. So they now pour almost all the clothes in the house, the wardrobe, empty, and to cover it. And so many people, you understand now, because they were at the age of 20 something, they thought they could join the Nigerian army to assist in fighting the war. So, and that's the case of many of us. I'm telling you, ask them to come and join Nigerian army. Even some people were so cowardly that they could not slaughter chicken. You understand? during the Christmas, so they had to go and give someone to come and slaughter for them. But these are the people deciding the fate of people that have served the country for several years. And imagine, my brother, you see some of them with bullets still in their bones. You see some of them maimed, change one assignment or the other. And these are the people that are staying 3, 4, 5 days in Abuja for orderly verification, and before they could get, I think, their pensions. Listen, with the technology nowadays, that you can see that I don't use the NIMC number, use the other numbers, and you can do the metrics right from the home. But you ask these people for collecting 30,000, 40,000 to come to Abuja, go and see their tent, go and see where they can. And so if we are doing those to those things, they are alive, right? And all of these governors, whatever now they are taking risk. You understand? Then they are laying risk, just to take photographs in the midst of a Nigerian army, taking them shots. You understand? We love this kind of ceremony, even when there are no substance on it. So it is quite unfortunate, and to now go to our gallant soldiers fighting whether Boko Haram, Lukurawa, bandits, or wherever in the south, in the northwest, in the northeast, and various parts of the country. It's quite demeaning when you get this real picture of what is happening at the work front. I think let me not to express my opinion. Let me quote Indume. Indume about 2 days ago told the whole country that they just visited Maiduguri, where Boko Haram just committed havoc and kind of thing. And the guy said that what pained him more was that some of these soldiers we have at the theater of war, they were collecting 1,500 for a day as a food allowance. Yes, he said it. And I know it could not be not that trivial, because it was once the chairman of the Senate Committee on Defense in the Ninth Assembly. So he had interaction with this, right? He knew them, he knew the system. So they were collecting 1,500 per day as meal allowance. How much will 1,500 do to a soldier you expect to run after Boko Haram, to escape from Boko Haram? If you are in that kind of a dangerous environment, if a python is beside you, you cannot run away. You understand? Because you run away, and the enemies will sight you, the prediction. So you are fighting a python on the right hand, you are dodging the enemies on the other side, and in the empty stomach. You understand what I'm saying? So how will you explain the situation where we find ourselves? Let me also paint another picture for you. We saw the Minister of State for Defense, forget the man that he ran to his home state to go and start playing politics in the name of fighting when they are killing them on the daily basis over there. You understand? I don't know whether what the president has to do there, or for him to provide a conducive environment for people to get enough interest, and for the people, soldiers to be able to do something appropriately. I think he came and said, this year budget, we are proposing 50 billion for the Nigerian army and about just 21 billion for the capital project. Where the capital project want to buy APCs. And the man was saying that they could not, the money they were having cannot buy up to 12 or 15 APCs. And they say for them now, they need at least 50 APCs. I'm not armored personnel carriers. So you don't expect soldiers to go physically with their food to go and confront these sophisticated bandits and Boko Haram we have, right? But with armored personnel carriers, they are protected and they can shoot from all cylinders, from all angles. So if the country is now saying that we don't have enough money for them to give them enough money, I think to buy all these things, I think something we have to look into whether they are fair to them. And then lastly, I see no reason up to now. If you really want to fight this insecurity in this country, that the country has not put the money you are giving defense on the first line charge. In the sense that they don't have to go and start playing politics with the federal minister, with the minister of finance, with the people in budget office, with the CBN to get your allocation released. I'm telling you the truth, is what some of them always release for them, first and foremost, in the current expenditure that they've scheduled. But when it comes to capital, it's another thing entirely. And that's why you can see a minister that I think will have a budget of 80 billion a month, let's say in a year, and the current 45 capital 30, right? And they will see that the only money they will get is only the current. And when it comes to capital, that be 0%. So that's why I said it in the station, Abike Dabiri said it as a lecture in National University in November ending, that as at now he has already received a dime for capital expenditure, you understand, for his own agency. So if as of November she had not received a dime on capital expenditure as November ending, so you can have a picture of what I'm saying, but not to digress too much away from the issue of the security we are talking about. We are not that serious as expected, at least in fighting insecurity in this country. And I'm telling you, if you ask the informer they want to recruit, yes, you are going to see some hungry people joining, I think, armed forces. But for you now to see a very brave men, women that want to join Nigerian Army, it might not be that easy again, because we have not given them the kind of respect we want to give them. We have not been given the kind of incentives we want to give them as a country, and we have not been their place of priority in thinking of national development. Has not been there. That's so you can develop a country without security. So we are talking of shortage. We are talking of shortage of food now, not because of only because the farmers cannot go to farm. Even those who go to farm in the northwest are now in a precarious situation that they have to pay bandits
to access their own farms.
More than whatever they can make to access their own farm, to harvest what they have planted. So there's no way you develop a country without adequate security. And that is why, to me, whatever should be done to give them the required facility, incentives needed, must be done. So we celebrated the fallen heroes, but the heroes that are still alive are hungry and are not well motivated.
Well, your final line does not exactly inspire any level of positivity. Let me tell you a little story. I went to a military secondary school, and then from all indication, it was clear that I was going to go to the ND and all of that. So my mom had to come to the school to talk to the commandant. Then we don't have principal, we would have a commandant, and told the commandant, this is the only son I have, don't allow him join the Nigerian. And as at that time, I so badly wanted, in fact, I waited another year before I got into university, and I still went to write the NDA exam. I remember I wrote the exam at the military cantonment in Maryland here. I remember very, very well, but I didn't get in eventually. And that was how much a lot of a lot of my friends then got in there. A lot of them even went in to do short service after we left to university. But it looks like the conversation has names into it. People going.
Okay, let me corroborate what you said. I have one of the boys. Also about the boy is about 12 years. Yes, since he was about 5 years, he has been clamoring. He wants to be a soldier. Want to be a soldier. Want to be a soldier. And I begin to call him General Grace. His name is Grace, the boy. Grace. And when the guy watched the demonstration of the pensioners, Nigeria, the soldiers, the guy now said, so after the people served and this life they are living, he said, no, I'm not going to be a soldier. No, that was just said. I'm talking about Monday on there. No. I think I'll go and think something else. This is the ambition the boy has been nursing since when
almost
he was
all his
about
life.
5 years old. And he found 12 years. Just a young boy, right? And now say no. Just 360 degree that if this is the way they treated, no, I'm no more doing it. Only for the way they were being treated in America, in Britain, elsewhere, right? Where they valued, I think, their lives because security. Without security, no provision can develop. It's because of the security we have that you and I can really talk the way we are talking here now. Just, it's not. I think what we go inside China too. But I think what I'm saying and I'm still repeating is that the entire system, not only for the pensioners, even for the fallen heroes, and those that have not fallen and they will not fall, we don't pray that they fall. They are playing very crucial and sensitive role, not only for the survival of the country, even for our existence as human beings.
Well, I'm hoping that the relevant authorities will get to hear some of the things that we're saying here and know that it doesn't make any sense in the world when the people that have constantly put their lives on the line to protect this country from whether external invaders or to fight against the internal invaders or internal attackers that we have, because we've had to deal with internal problems even more than external. I can't remember the last time we had any country trying to invade this country, but we've had a lot of problems. Yes, maybe some people said, some of the militants or some of the terrorists are coming from Niger, they're coming from Chad, they're coming from this, they're coming from that, but the attack had not been coming from the outside. It's been from the inside. And I'm hoping that the governments at different level will do their best to make sure that this country is safe and it's secured. I mean, Mr. Miwa just made it very clear. There cannot be development in any atmosphere of hostility. There has to be peace to sustain development, because development is almost like a no-ending process. Development keeps happening. Once there is, let's quickly touch the next conversation. And Mr. Miwa, this is the point where it could get a bit sensitive, because we talked about this topic during midweek politics yesterday, and I got some very, very interesting phone calls and messages yesterday. And is the issue of the impeached Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. I've read a lot of opinion about the remover. I read the many scenes of Obasa, the speech that broke the camel's back, this and that. A lot have been said about his removal. And just like they said, there cannot be vacuum in government. The moment he was impeached on the $30 Miranda from Apapa Constituency 1, voted in 2015, re-elected in 2019, still in the House. Femi from Irekpodu Constituency 2. He was the one that moved the motion for the impeachment of the Speaker on Monday. And immediately the impeachment was carried out, Honorable Abiodun Tobun from Ekpe Constituency 1 also addressed the press, talking about the need for the impeachment. And immediately after that, the Speaker also addressed, the media after she visited the Governor's Advisory Council. It's been a tale of different conversation. Mr. Miwa, you've been at the end of these issues like this for over 30 years. I made bold to say that I'm not sure we've had any president from 1999 till today that you've not interviewed. I mean, we can't put all of that into question, but did you see the impeachment of Obasa coming? By the way, he's been Speaker for 10 years from the administration of former Governor Kiwumi Ambode. He's been in the House for about 25 years as one of the youngest, if not the youngest, House of Assembly member that Lagos State had ever produced. So is a high-ranking member of the Lagos State House of Assembly. However, his impeachment or removal, according to how the members said it, had almost a unanimous decision. And do you also think it's about the 2027 governorship issue, or is about his cup is full and he has to go, according to what people are saying?
I think there are many angles you can look at it. But let me tell you that first and foremost, that that the inkling that will be removed, right? Since December. But we know the policy of Lagos State, that it will be difficult for him to be removed without the consent of the president, who is the leader of this political family, right, that produced all of them. So, but once they got the consent of the president during the holiday, right, so it was just a matter of days looking for appropriate time and opportunity, at least to do it, and which they did it. His cup, I think, was full at the time it was removed, no doubt about that. But let me give you a background to this matter, and it's about 2027. But many people didn't understand what is really happening. Listen, apparently, the guy shot himself at the foot by trying to be smarter, and he was at the same time naive on how to play the politics. He had the ambition of contesting for the governorship election in 2027. Don't tell about that. But let me tell you something. About 3 years ago, even the president affirmed it and the GAC that they don't want to hear anything about cleavages. In Lagos, we have two major groups: the Mandate Forum and the Justice Forum. The Mandate Group and the Justice Forum. So they were like twins and two groups. Even though the GAC, they were polarized. You know what I'm saying? So the GAC, that's the elders. Some are in Mandate Group and some are in Justice Forum. But the rivalry between these two groups is getting, I think, too dangerous for the survival of the party. And now said they were cancelling those groups, that they want to hear our Mandate Group and Justice Forum again. Whereas people in Justice Forum were still meeting, but they will never call it Justice Forum. They know themselves, and they all know the speaker. The speaker, the rep member that was financing the activity, right? And so also the Mandate Forum, the Mandate Group. Now, to achieve his ambition, by middle of last year, he was now going around recruiting and then bringing people from Justice to Mandate. You had him, even when Ghanaian Solomon had his 66th birthday in December, that people were misconstruing his effort of getting more people into the party. Two mandate group. As to satisfy his own personal ambition. I'm quoting him. But he was doing that to strengthen the party ahead 2027. Whereas a smart politician will never mention that mandate group. Because it has been outlawed by the rules, by the powers that be in the party. So, to the extent that all these activities in the assembly were to favor those people thought were belong to the mandate group. And whereas in the local politics to tell you, people that were having upper hand now, they were Justice Forum. You know my point. So all his campaign had been on the mandate group, and since then, that I think under the was warned, and you stop it, and he continued it. Go and Google it. Go and say what I'm talking about. That was the beginning of his crisis, and that is why he had been misbehaving to the governor, thinking that governor was supporting another candidate, deputy governor for 2027, which was going to meet they all belong to the Justice Forum. Now, by November last year, there were about 3 petitions against him, even to the EFCC, by some groups in Lagos State, that should be investigated. But listen, all his members never saw the reason to investigate it or to do otherwise. But when the scope now full, that the governor went there to present the budget. I've never seen a situation where you hold the governor for 3 hours. And the members, the leaders of the party for almost 4 hours waiting for you. Even when the governor entered, they were still talking about how they got celebrated Men's Day 2024. And without according any
regard
protocol respect to the governor. It's an absurd. So when the matter came up, remember in December before they left, all the members of our assembly passed a vote of confidence on it. Because they thought it was fair to them, even to the extent of buying them dark glasses to wear when the governor was going to present the budget. Right? So when he now instructed the governor in his presence, saying that he is eminently qualified to contest as governor of Lagos State, and those who had occupied the office before him, they were not better than him in any way. What has got to do with the business of the day? And where you have all the party leaders present. So I think he carries it too far. And the complaints to the president, and the president was very angry with him. And when even to the extent that the president was set to ask him that, even I learned that you were having a bill before you, which will empower the speaker to be appointing and removing the State Independent Electoral Commission
officer.
Chairman. Whereas I think by law, the governor will present the candidate for the office. You guys will screen. You can say no to the person if you find that person not worthy of that office. But for that now, give you the power to appoint and remove. And the president was said to have been asking him that, who do you think will sign that bill? I mean, you think in this Lagos State you can override, you can veto a governor. You can see that scenario. But the last straw, unknown to many people, was that when some of the lawmakers now went to the governor in Marina House to go and beg him for what Speaker did, because the result was just too much, right? It was causing serious issue in the party. And the governor was now telling them how he had been trying not to join issue with him, how he had been very, very disrespectful to him, and how he has been able to release so much money to the assembly, to the tune of over 3 billion. And he was giving the impression that the governor was not giving them so much. You understand? So much money that the governor released, and the man, the son, was able to tell them, that was the last straw that broke the camel's back. And that's why people that he went to Atlanta, but he went with those they consider to be favorite, not by saying your portfolio has to do with what you're going to do in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I think so that's why I think with what he had, so man had so much. Because they were supporting him. As I told you, go and Google it. You see that in December they passed vote of confidence on him. But when we now saw how much the state government has released to the assembly in 2024,
and it's not reaching them.
I think that's what we were. So the man allegedly short-changed them and replaced different people. I remember when I was talking to Chambua some time ago. He told me when he was a speaker, he would be the last person to sleep. And he would be the first person to wake up, monitoring his members. Because when he had the holding meeting somewhere, and that meeting was not clear to people, he would make sure he would go there to go and know what they are discussing. And at times, he would meet them where they were discussing how to remove him. where they were discussing misgivings about him. And then we just sit down with them and settle the matter there and there. So it costs nothing to remove a speaker. You don't need you don't need only what you need is once the governor is not in total support. Even when the governor is in total support, even if they want to remove it, they will remove it. See how the problem of the Jaydan started to state. The guys don't say that this city line or one of these city presidents that they wanted to remove him, they remove her. And then the governor didn't want it, but they went ahead and remove her. And that was the beginning of the crisis there with Daniel. Daniel didn't support the new speaker, but the guy this guy wanted. And that was the beginning of the crisis. So in the local crisis, they don't want you. They need just simple majority.
To get to
in the assembly of Lagos, they had 40 members around the speaking. They only need 21 signatures. 21 signatures, not 22. You only need 21 signatures because you are all equal. But speaker is first among the equals. So that the one when he was elected, was never elected as speaker.
Yes.
Was elected
as a floor member.
As a member of Agege Constituency 1.
True.
2. So it's not powerful than, but if your colleagues are too much on his head, he wants to make him to be laid the figures that some amount of money they thought the governor has not released, but that was released. That's why they are already doing that. It's being investigated, and if he's not careful, he will not only proceed, but they want him to go and answer because it's like to shortchange his colleagues and pay to win election. You understand? So they was fighting a battle too early. They started group in APC. Because it was the issue of Gandon, all the cleavages among them. They don't want to be. I think naive of mentioning that this is what we are doing. It was justice forum. Or what this year we are doing now, we are the members of I think you see certain analysis. You know that I think maybe he had the power too much. I think getting to this. And then for him, and you understand one thing that yes, Tinubu is the leader of his political family, but Tinubu is himself a Democrat. When those elders, GAC, all this, I know one of them very well, Baba Bashoru, and they became Minister, Commissioner for Education in Lagos State, John Jakonde. You understand? Baba Bashoru, not only accountant or lawyer, for many years he was member of the monetary policy of the city. You can't talk of money to them again, where they reach in life. Some of them in this GAC, I don't tell them that 70,000. Sorry, 70,000 in age. So we are talking of people that are dealing with UPS from Action Group, to UPS, from UPS to APC, no, for APC, now to APC we are talking about. These are the people that the GAC. When they told Tinubu they don't want Ambode again, Tinubu wanted Ambode by all means. But when those elders said no, Ambode is no more going, Tinubu had no choice. There's a bunch down from Ambode. Tinubu don't know the places they play Lagos State. So when GAC told the guy that went to try this up, what they voted to Tinubu and who said, well, they do ask every act from his case. So we knew it was on. So that's why it was easy for the assembly also to go ahead. Because Yoruba will say, to be battling. So once that has happened to him, that I think no, he was not getting support of powers that be in the state again. So it was new, that how had been allegedly shortchanging them. So they had just to remove it.
Mr. Miwadi, we would have to go for break, and the phone lines have been buzzing, and just like I said, this conversation generated a lot of heat in the studio yesterday, and I have a feeling it's going to do the same, because a lot of people have the opinion that no, you don't have the right to kill anyone's ambition. Anybody can be ambitious. It's not about one person holding sway. But we'll have to take a very quick break and pay some bills. When I come back, Mr. Adeyemi, I will reconnect you to the show, and then we'll just continue the conversation. Then we'll pick calls also, because we're still going to touch the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, the governor of Imo State, His Excellency Hope Uzodimma, that said the state governors are getting so much money now from the federation account, but it's not reflecting in the life of the people. We're going to talk about that, then we'll open the phone line. So please just stay with us. I'll call you back when we're back from this break.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, we're due for our first break, and the phone lines have been buzzed. I'll pick your calls. I'm seeing your messages on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Don't worry. But let's go for our first break. It is the Situation Room live on Mainland 98.3 FM, and we've talked about two major themes. We started off with the second coming of President Donald Trump next week on the 20th of January. Is going to be sworn in for his second term in office. And then we also talked about how much more do we need to do beyond celebrating the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. How do we take care of the people that are still living and fighting and putting everything on the line to protect the sovereignty of this country, and even the ones that are retired? I'm seeing a message on Facebook now where somebody said, that's John Bernardo. He said, my cousin served in Zamfara as a soldier and is at home now nursing injury without any assistance from the authority. These are the issues that we've talked about on the show today. And of course, we couldn't do this show on a Thursday with Mr. Adeyemi and not touch the removal of the former Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa. I'll be right back after this break.
Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
As the years they go, we dey work for dough. Some days it's fast, some days it's slow. Many highs and lows, but we carry go. Nothing go stop our doing so. Now the night just spirit, yes we move. With family, there's love at home. We know say Christmas, it don't come over. Blow the trumpet, the parampe.
Hello, go go go. Everywhere you go go go. Everybody go lo lo lo. We go enjoy.
So make we celebrate. It's a yellow, yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. When you hear the bedroom, everybody celebrate. It's a yellow, yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. We do it anyway, any place.
Disconnect from distractions. Go make a difference this season. Merry Christmas from MTN.
Chai, my head oh. Oga landlord, why you dey shake like ceiling fan? My village people don't come again oh. This one with your body hot so, you don't do test? Yes, see result oh. Oga landlord, no be your village people oh. Na malaria, you need Luta. Luta na better medicine wey dey knack down malaria. Oya see am, take am. Thank you Oga Luta. I don't dey kampe. Luta, brand of Artemeta and Lumefantrine, is another quality product from Hovid, marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, see your doctor.
Everybody say thanks, Luta. Malaria's in big trouble.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 Naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 Naira airtime and 2,000 Naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Okpeyemi Akinyode as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial Mainland 98.3 FM. We'll welcome you roommates as we discuss the situations.
Thank you very much for still staying with us. And by 5:30, we'll have the sunset news from Mainland 98.3 FM. And by 6 o'clock, I would come back with my entire crew to give you our sports cruise. Yesterday was the North London derby, and against all odds, Arsenal came out victorious 2-1 at the Emirates Stadium. The third victory on the bounce against their city and fiercest rival Tottenham Hotspur. And that should be about the 6th win in 5 North London derby games. We'll also look at Newcastle United. I mean, it's just been an amazing season for Alexander Isak and the entire Newcastle guys. 8 wins on the bounce at defeating Aston Villa 3-0 yesterday. We'll talk about all of that on the show today, but that would have to wait till 6 o'clock. Don't also forget that the Australian Open is going on strong and the big guns are still very much in the mix, but you'd have to wait till 6 o'clock before we come talk about that. Mr. Miwa Adeyemi is back on the show, and Mr. Adeyemi, thank you very much for staying with us. Okay, so I mean, we've talked about what the government would need to do at every level to improve, in quotes now, to boost the morale of the boys still fighting, and even the ones that have fought for this country and then they are being denied their entitlement in their pensions, 3 years, 4 years. To the fact that some of them had to protest at the in front of the Ministry of Defense on Monday in Abuja. it's not something we should be talking about if truly we want to, protect the sovereignty of this country. We'll also look at the issue of Lagos. Now we have a new speaker, the first female speaker for the state after 10 years of Right Honorable Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa from Agege constituency. He was removed, impeached, whatever nomenclature you want to use, on Monday by almost 90% of the House of Assembly members. The motion for impeachment was moved by the Honorable representing Irepodu Constituency 2, Honorable Said Femi, and of course, the first address after his tenure as Speaker was gone. Well, it has generated a lot of issues. People have asked questions. Is it bad for someone to be ambitious? Is it bad for somebody to, come out to say? He hadn't even come out to say it openly. He had only said that he's not less qualified to be governor than anybody that had governed Lagos or anyone governing the Lagos presently. Well, I mean, sometimes they would always say that you need to understand your demographics in politics, and you know what to say, when to say what to say, and when to say what not to say. There are times somebody says something and then there are more things you would learn from what he did not say right from what he has said, if you understand what that means. But Mr. Adeyemi, let's quickly talk about what the governor of Imo State, the chairman of the APC Progressive Governors Forum, Hope Uzodinma, said in respect to his colleagues getting more money from the federation account, but it's not exactly reflecting in the quality of lives of the people. Talk to us about that very quickly.
I think very, very good, and please, I want you to underline that it's very good that the governors themselves are not acknowledging that they are having more money in their kitty. Paul Zuma said it 2 days ago. But before him, National State Governor, when he was talking about the farm he was working on to enhance food production, he said that he was able to, he got resources to do because they have increased allocation. And since last year, he has not gone to bank begging for money. Except governor or government also that they always make public to know, which is true to some extent, that all the facts they were receiving before could not pay their salary. And the Fayose really painted that picture very clear. Because what Fayose did when it was going on was that set up the committee between the labor union or whatever. So any money coming from FAC, they will take everything, go and share it. Do you know what point? So without removing a dime from it, once they are just receiving from FAC, go and share it. So whatever his government was just using to run his government with the IGR, or maybe they have a economic fund or other funds that will come in for people. But once FAC comes, go and share it. And they will that the money is not enough to pay the salary. But things like that, they are now paying salaries and doing something, more things without going to bank. That's the positive side of it. But now, they have been receiving enhanced allocation since last year. Not only state government, including federal government, including local government, which work, I think, with something I did recently. I discovered that between 2018 and 2013, all the 724 local governments in the country, which is about 6 years, received about 9.2 trillion. But only last year, 2024, they received 3.9 trillion. So you can see what they received in 6 years.
They got it in less than 1 year.
Half of it almost in a year. So why I say that local governments also have more money. And that is the logic of this subsidy, naira flotation, and all these taxes they are imposing on Nigerians and all those things. That was the essence of it. Because the money was not flying from heaven. is the sweat of Nigerians that is turning now to be sweet to the pulse of the governors. So, if it's not only Lagos, it's not only the neighborhood statistics that is saying that they are getting more money. Even they also are now confirmed they are getting money. Then the question is, are the money reflected in the welfare of the people? I think money has not reflected in the welfare of the people. What can we do? That's not the question. So the case has been established that you have more money. So what are you now doing with that money? That's why I'm challenging everybody. Listen to us. That the time has come for us as Nigerians to begin to take our government accountable for every common spend. Unless we will suffer in vain, and I pray we will not suffer in vain. This money is not what they are printing from their cupboard. It is our sweat. It's what we are feeling the pains now. That's the money that they have in their hands. It's not only money from crude oil, it's our taxes, it's the levies we are paying. And if Nigerians are suffering it, they must now be more interested in how this money is being spent. Because one of those issues we consider that has not gotten very well in our democracy in Nigeria is where people usually have to play their role. I'm challenging, I'm not blaming us because something is free money they are getting before, right? It's not from your sweat. So you may not be interested. But now that they are getting your money, right? They are using your money, your real sweat. We must begin to ask them in prioritizing their projects. The budget defense is going on here now. How many CDA are written letters to the assembly demanding for one thing or the other? How many groups, how many professional bodies have asked for their rights? And if you don't ask for your rights, before you know it, they will continue white elephant projects that has no bearing with the welfare of the people. I'm telling you the truth. So the issue we have now is to let us now, in abroad, in America, and the other, whatever we're talking about, there are agitations every day. There are letters of petitions every day about to be transparent and accountable. It's the only river and few NGOs. Where are the NGOs that are collecting money? I think to monitor, to track budget and ensure money is spent. I think for the welfare, where are they? Where are the people who are suffering this thing? Where are they? So if the democratic government of the people for the people and by the people, where are those people? How are they playing their roles? So that's why you see many NGOs, you see many pressure groups, you see many organizations demanding for their rights elsewhere. We have to keep the government on their toes. We shouldn't give the impression that all is well when things are bad, when things are not well. It's not about keeping the faith alive, keeping the hope alive. It's about shouting, it's about talking. So, because I think in this program we have been trying to do that. We are not inciting people against the government. But we are saying that people should ask if they all acknowledge that yes, we have more money. Let's now demand for our rights. You don't have good roads in your area, shout out. Right there. Talk in radio programs. If you don't have water, talk. If whatever you are suffering in your community that's also be the best.
Speak out.
Shout out. Speak out. There are some schools, maybe that they don't have facilities in this Lagos or wherever, people will speak up. People will write petition about it. So I'm saying that if they have money, they've accepted, they've told us. About 4 or 5 dollars have said it now. But if we are docile, we don't ask. I pray we will not go back to the era when Gowon said, well, we have so much money, but have to spend it on our problem.
That's a problem.
You understand? Whereas people were suffering. When Gowon said it, how many roads were tied in Nigeria? When Gowon said it, how many communities had electricity? No, up to now. When Gowon said it, how many communities were linked with only 90 they had that time? But they said they had so much money, but that to spend it. So if we are not shouting out, now we have the advantage of social media. The telephones are there. And we can call our top stations. We can carry placards. It's nothing there's something wrong for people to carry placards, community, and go to front of the Lagos National Assembly of Governors Office and display placards. It's peaceful protest. Go to 10 Darwin Street every day.
People protest every day, even in front of White House.
Yeah, in White House, go to Capitol, you see people protesting every day. They have a street for them. So also in Lagos, nothing stopping people to go for a day and carry placards. We should not be docile again. We should not just be thinking, let them do the way they wanted to do it. No, they allow them to continue to do it. They will do it the way they want it. And they only work for their own class. They will not be thinking of going to the moon and space. Whereas people don't have electricity in many areas. Some communities don't have good roads. Some communities, I think for years, they've not been connected to national grid. And they keep quiet. So there's money. They've said it. So let's demand for our rights. That's my position on that.
Mr. Morademi, it's been an amazing conversation with you today, but I'll have to let you go. I was hoping we could still have a conversation around what the former CBN governor and now the Emir of Kano said in respect to some of the things that this administration is doing, and he's not ready to help them. Well, it's been a lot of conversation and counter positioning around it. Politicians have been speaking, political analysts have been speaking about it, but we're really pressed for time and we have loads of messages to read, so I'm going to have to let you go now. Hopefully we can still find a way to come talk about it next week Thursday, or perhaps we just put it around how the traditional institutions are getting really involved in politics. Thank you very much, Mr. Adeyemi, for being my guest on the show today.
Thank you very much, and kudos to our listeners.
Thank you.
And let us take it up from there.
Thank you very much. Mr. Adeyemi is the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and Guardian newspaper is one of the best newspapers you want to read right now. Their contents are really detailed, very clear, with pictures and graphics to back up with data. Is always a delight for me, and it's always a pleasure to have the chief political editor join me on the show every Thursdays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Let me quickly pick a couple of calls before we say our goodbyes. Hello, good evening.
We're going to ask for more time. You're going to ask for more time.
Today's Thursday, so we have to make use of the guest.
Yeah, this is Ambassador Musa.
You're welcome.
Look, to me, let me start from the speaker because no more time. The speaker, it is long overdue because we are so arrogant. I don't know who. Look, let me tell you one thing. As a politician, you have to start. No matter what power you have, no matter what influence you have to be reasonable to your people. It's like, look, there's one thing I want you to know. You know about this. There's one news garden who approved. I don't know. I speak my mind. All over assembly. This man squat to it. It disallow. I don't know the name they give them. He don't want the why. He ordered a state governor for 4 hours. Look, Atika, he has died politically. And I said, look. You can't be sure. We're not gods. I've seen quite a lot of people, take wrong steps politically, and they've been lucky enough to get. I'm not saying the impeached speaker took any wrong step. I'm just saying that we can't stay here and feel like, somebody is dead politically or somebody is this and that. No,
even with our saying somebody is there politically, we don't even know what is going to happen to the ambitions that we have today. Maybe we're not even going to live till tomorrow. So I think I understand how emotional a lot of people are. Funny enough, I've seen quite a lot of people from his constituency on social media, talking and saying, they will repay back the government in 2027. 2027 is near. And I'm like, okay. Let me read some messages on Facebook. The only truth about the impeachment of Honorable Obasa is that it feels inferior to the office of the governor since Sanwo-Olu was selected to complete Ambode's term. However, Sanwo-Olu's tenure was extended, hence the emergence disobedience to the office of the governor. Thank God Sanwo-Olu is cool-headed to have allowed the GAG to be aware of the issues from the speaker. Last was the major error of insubordination during the budget presentation. That was the last straw that broke the camel's back. That's Atondia Samuel. Thank you. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. Can someone tell me what impact has the repatriated looted funds done to Nigeria? It's quite unfortunate and shameful that all the recovered looted monies are not been traced to any particular project. That is Onotoye Michael. Reverend Solomon Jesus Sonmi says, good evening, Mr. Miwa. I always listen to this program every Thursday because you always balance your information. Please keep it up. Thank you. Greetings from Dakar, Senegal. Mr. Okpe and your guest, I hail you with fantastic analysis. Please, who can remove anyone in the position as Lagos without the Jagaban himself not having a hand in it? Mr. Obasa must have been warned many times, but to the best of my knowledge, he's so arrogant, thinking with Jagaban nothing would happen to him. In as much as they are one that put him there, they can remove him at any time. Nigerian politics is too cumbersome. I'm not sure if Jagaban or anybody put Obasa there. The people of Agege constituency 1 voted him in office, and they've continued to vote him since he became the member representing them. So I don't understand why we say somebody put anybody there. John Bernardo, you say, my cousin served at Zamfara as a soldier and is at home currently nursing injury without any assistance from the authorities. I mean, it was a very important conversation I needed to have today, that beyond just celebrating the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, what are we doing to the ones that are still serving and protecting this country? Hello, yes. Good evening. Let's make this real quick.
Yes, good evening. Quickly, Ajimele. Ajimele. I'm Richie from Ikoyi. Okay. Yes, back to the discussion again. My question is that what are the grounds laid against this man, Mr. Obasa? There is no ground. Did they fight or are they petition whatsoever accusation they are accusing him to EFCC? Someone called now, we are saying that how will he keep a governor for 4 hours? I don't understand. No, who is he? No, who is he? How are we sure it's true? Has anybody asked Mr. Obasa if truly he intentionally keep the governor waiting? Why are we acting like this in this country? My problem is that I was even surprised with the way the chief editor, the way he even
okay, let's keep it simple. Like I said, my guest's position is his position. He's not speaking on behalf of the organization he represents. We're really pressed for time. Yesterday, I played you the sound bite of Honorable Said Femi from Irekpodu Constituency 2. He was the one that moved the motion for the removal of the former speaker under motion of importance, and he listed issues of insubordination, instigating members against inciting members against each other. He also talked about misappropriation, and like I asked my guest on Monday, are we expecting some criminalization of these allegations, or they will just end on the pages of the impeachment sheet that was passed around after the impeachment was done? The next couple of days or weeks perhaps would reveal some of these things to us. Thank you very much for being a part of the production today. Thank you, Mr. Miwa Adeyemi, for joining me on the show. The program continues tomorrow. It's going to be the last edition of the show for the week. But by 5:30, the news would come through, and by 6 o'clock, I would also come back to take you through the world of sports. Thank you to everyone that called. Apologies for the calls. We can't pick Prince Wise. I'm seeing your call, but I can't pick it anymore. We'll do this again tomorrow. My name is Okpeyemi Akin. Keep your dialogue only on Mainland 98.3 FM, because we are the sound of Lagos. Have a beautiful evening, and I'll be back by 6.